We're going to continue on page 141 of volume 2 of The World of Nichiren Daishonin's writings by Daisaku Ikeda and Katsuji Saito and Masaaki Morinaka. We'll be continuing where it says on the bottom of page 141, requirements for embracing the Gohonzon.
Yep.
Before I do that, though, because we're going to touch on the concept of the 10 mystic principles, and it's one of my favorite things because of the Myo thing. Does everybody know what the 10 mystic principles are? No. Why? Because they're Tentai teachings. They're not really important for us to understand, but they're part of the process of Nichiren's explanation, because he constantly goes about qualifying that this is the teaching. Well, what is this is the teaching that he normally qualifies on? It's something like from profound meetings or great concentration or insight or annotations on any of that, Myolo, or it's something from Dingyo. Okay, so to start this out then, let me go and I'm going to read. Everybody knows what the mutual possession of the 10 worlds is, right?
Yes.
I don't have to go back. That was discussed last week. It's on page 416 of the Buddhist dictionary. All right, if you want to take a look at that. And of course, it says here the important thing about the 10 a mutual possession of the 10 worlds is the fact that it qualifies that you have Buddhahood. It's not so much the difference between hell and hunger and creating that distinction. It's the access that you're provided with Buddhahood being one of those 10 worlds.
Yeah.
Okay, but Miao is a very specific and significant part of what we do. Okay, and what does Miao mean generally, translated into English? Mystic, right? So it says, going into Myo from page 417, wonderful Myo, wonderful, mystic, without peer or beyond conception. Now, what did that just say? That said, it's not something that you can never really understand. It's beyond your capacity to perceive the true reality of the aspect of Myo. But we're going to theoretically try to bring it forth right now in this definition. He says, this term is used to describe the Buddhist law, which is wonderful and beyond ordinary understanding. Ordinary understanding. The only one that can understand it is the Buddha, or the Buddhas. In the profound meaning of the Lotus Sutra by Tentai, Tentai interprets the word Myo, wonderful, of the title Myoho Renge-kyo, or the Lotus Sutra of the Wonderful Law, which would mean is Kumarajiva's translation, right? From two perspectives to show the profundity of the sutra. The first is the relative Myo, also referred to as comparative Myo. Who can tell me what that is? Come on. I just said it a minute ago. Relative and absolute Myo. Okay, so what's relative Myo? It's the mystic aspect of the philosophy that pertains to the teachings of Buddhism, okay? But because all other things are also part of this Myo, it's got this aspect of including everything, even opposing teachings, opposing anything. Everything is included in absolute Myo. So it says, the first is the relative Myo, also referred to as the comparative Myo, because you can see the differences between all these things. The relative Myo means that the Lotus Sutra is wonderful or mystic because, when compared with all other teachings, it is superior. All right? Myo does not merely mean that the Lotus Sutra is superior to all other teachings, however. Hence, the second interpretation, the absolute Myo. This means that the Lotus Sutra cannot be compared with any other type of teaching because it encompasses and integrates all other teachings. No teaching exists outside it from the perspective of absolute Myo. And thus none can be called superior or inferior to it. Why? Why is this position taken about the absolute aspect of Myo? Because everything gives rise from this simultaneity of cause and effect, right? I mean, it's what no matter what it is that you're looking at, it had an original state.
Yes.
All right? That original state is the same for all things. Since it's the same for all things, that's why it's called, it's called absolute myo. All right? This teaching means that the Lotus Sutra cannot be compared with any other teaching because it encompasses and integrates all other teachings. No teaching exists outside it, and thus none can be called superior or inferior to it. From this viewpoint, all teachings, when based on the Lotus Sutra, express various aspects of the ultimate truth. That's why Daisaku Ikeda can get away with throwing in stuff from Henry David Thoreau, or this Chinese philosopher, or that European philosopher. It's always to make a point that says this isn't limited to just some, small school of Buddhism. These are universal truths that this Buddhism has qualified as a universal truth. He says, from this viewpoint, all teachings, when based on Lotus Sutra, express various aspects of the ultimate truth. Nichiren interpreted Myo as referring to Nam-myoho Renge-kyo, which he deemed the essence of the Lotus Sutra. In the Daimoku of the Lotus Sutra, he explains three meanings of the character Myo: to open, to be fully endowed, and to revive. To open means to open up the darkness of illusion and reveal the Buddha nature, to discover that it's there even though you've not been aware that it's there. To not have to do anything else to bring it forth. To be fully endowed means to possess all 10 worlds and 3,000 realms while permeating and integrating the whole of the phenomenal world. Everybody understands that, right? It means that you're part of this intrinsic reality that there's no separation between anything. Everything has the same source. It can also mean possessing the practices and resulting virtues of all Buddhists, because this understanding, this perception, and this means to achieve that is predicated on, is the teacher of all Buddhas, according to the teaching that we're reading and discussing right now. To revive means enabling one to attain Buddhahood. For example, women, evil men, and those of the two vehicles, voice hearers and causal waker ones, who were denied the possibility of enlightenment in the provisional teachings, can all attain Buddhahood through the Daimoku of the Lotus Sutra. Through Nam-myoho Renge-kyo is what that just said, because the Daimoku of the Lotus Sutra is specifically Nam-myoho Renge-kyo. It says to revive also means that all teachings and doctrines, when based upon the mystic law, when viewing them from the correct reality of perspective of reality, assume their correct perspective and fulfill their intrinsic purpose. See also Nam-myoho Renge-kyo. Okay, so that was that, and then let me get to the last thing here. Going to the 10 mystic principles. All right, so these 10 mystic principles are all based on Myo. All right, so it says 10 mystic principles set forth by Tentai. All of this is Tentai. Again, you won't find any of this on the surface of the Lotus Sutra. All right, and you do, and always understand that Tentai never declared original invention of any of these concepts. This was all passed on, supposedly an interpretation that came way of Nagarjuna through Suisu, through to Nanye, to Tentai, to Chang'an, and on and on and on. And it's still the same predication that Dingyo is speaking from in Japan 700 years later. Do you understand? All right, so 10 principles, 10 mystic principles, 10 principles set forth by Tentai in the profound meaning of Lotus Sutra, interpreting the meaning of the word Myo, of Myoho Renge-kyo, the title of the Lotus Sutra. According to Tentai, the 10 mystic principles are all implicit in the single word Myo. So they're all contained within Myo. Myo is defining all of them. There are two categories of the 10 mystic principles. The 10 mystic principles of the theoretical teaching, first half of the Lotus Sutra, and the 10 mystic principles of the essential teaching, latter half of the sutra. In the descriptions below, the word mystic is a translation of Myo. Okay, so every time you hear me say mystic, it's really saying Myo. Okay, so the 10 mystic principles of the theoretical teaching, or the 10 Myo principles of the theoretical teaching are based on the concepts of the true aspect of all phenomena and the replacement of the three vehicles with the one vehicle. They are the mystic principles of reality, meaning that the objective reality observed and illuminated by wisdom is mystic. 2, the mystic principle of wisdom, that the wisdom with which one understands this reality is mystic. 3, the mystic principle of practice, that practice based on mystic wisdom is mystic. 4, the mystic principle of stages, which are attained through practice, that the stages leading to enlightenment are mystic. So far, everything that has to do with our practice and faith in the Gohonzon and chanting Nam-myoho Renge-kyo is all mystic. All right? The mystic 5, the mystic principle of the three elements, that the objective reality or truth, subjective wisdom, and the behavior arising from the fusion of these two are mystic. Everybody caught what that was? The principle of the three elements, the objective reality of truth, subjective wisdom, and the behavior arising from the fusion of these two are mystic. That's the attainment of Buddha. That's Kyochi Myogo, right? All right. 6, the mystic principle of responsive communion, meaning that the Buddha appeared in order to respond to the people's desire to seek him, is mystic. The fact that they were attracted to his teaching and even were in physical proximity to receive them is mystic. That means, again, they had a past relationship. That wasn't by chance that they were there. That's basically saying nothing's by chance is what this is saying. All right. Is mystic. 7, the mystic principle of transcendental power, that the supernatural powers that the Buddha uses to reveal the truth are mystic. The mystic principle of preaching, that the Buddha's preaching, what is verbally inexpressible, is mystic. 9, the mystic principle of relationship, that all people are related to the Buddha, is mystic. All people are related. There is no separation. And 10, the mystic principle of merit and benefit, the people who received the seeds of Buddhahood, major world system, dust particle kalpas ago, which would be what? When Shakyamuni did, okay? The mystic principle of merit and benefit, the principle that people who received the seeds of Buddhahood, major world system, dust particle kalpas ago, finally attain the truth through the process of maturing is mystic. Okay? Do you understand? All right. So that the process by which the journey began and reaches a culmination, that progression is mystic. It goes on from one lifetime to another lifetime to another lifetime. Do you remember any of those previous lifetimes that are the reason you're experiencing what you are in this lifetime? No, that's mystic. All right? The 10 mystic principles of the essential teaching are based on the revelation of the Buddha's original enlightenment, countless kalpas in the past, as expounded in Lifespan 16th chapter. The 10 mystic principles of the theoretical teaching are preparatory to the 10 mystic principles of the essential teaching. Okay, because the Buddha who revealed his original enlightenment in the remote past is called the true Buddha, each of the mystic principles of the essential teachings are modified by the word true. They are the mystic principles of true cause, meaning the practice of the true Buddha, are mystic. True effect, that the merits and virtues attained by the true Buddha are mystic. 3, true land, that the land where the true Buddha dwells is mystic. True responsive communion, that the true Buddha appearing in response to the people's desire to seek him is mystic. True transcendental power, that the supernatural powers of the true Buddha displays when he preaches are mystic. True preaching, that the true Buddha's preaching in the remote past is mystic. True relationship, that the people who form connections to the true Buddha in the remote past are mystic. True nirvana, that the true Buddha's nirvana is not an expedient means but eternal and inherent and therefore is mystic. And 9, true lifespan, meaning that though the true Buddha's lifespan is eternal, he is repeatedly being reborn as an ordinary mortal with a lifespan he desires is mystic. And 10, true benefit, that the benefit of the true Buddha bestows upon the land of the eternally tranquil light is mystic. Did you catch what it segued from one to the next? What was it really talking about there? The 10 mystic principles as revealed by Shakyamuni in the Lotus Sutra, and the 10 mystic principles as expressed and revealed by the true Buddha Nichiren. Because when we talk about true Buddha here, who enabled anybody other than themselves to do that? Shakyamuni doesn't talk about the Lotus Sutra. He doesn't talk about he doesn't talk about Nam-myoho Renge-kyo in the Lotus Sutra. All right? So whenever we're talking about true, we're talking about the people of the Sahe world that all have as a fundamental, initial, original building block of life, the aspect of Buddhahood, which they're constantly in every lifetime trying to go forward toward manifesting. Because when they are able to get to that finish line, it'll stay that way in every lifetime. They won't have to go through this big process. Now, going through, he's talked about the 10 mystic principles. He talked earlier on page 136 that embracing the Gohonzon is itself observing one's own mind. Does everybody remember that? All right. And then before that, what was the thing that he was talking about? Do you remember? The Gohonzon is a clear mirror reflecting one's own life. So we discussed that reality, that it's a reflection of your life.
Right. Yeah.
Then we got into, we went right into what I just said, that embracing the Gohonzon is itself observing one's own mind. So it's a Nam-myoho Renge-kyo of the Gohonzon is the same thing as Makashikan, heavy-duty contemplative prayer and meditation. Okay, on the teachings that have been revealed by Shakyamuni. Pardon me, by Chintan. All right, so now we're going to go all the way and jump what we just discussed at the end last week, and you can all go back and do that. He's getting back to this stuff from the letter to Gijobo. All right, on page 138, and then he ends it all. He goes on to catch it. Then now the next part we're going to read is the requirements for embracing the Gohonzon. Anybody that wants that's going to start reading from here, make sure you go back to page 138, where at the top it says President Ikeda. Read that so that you segue all this information into what I'm going to continue with. Because now he's going to talk about the requirements. Okay, he's talking about what you're really doing when you're in front of the Gohonzon, what the Gohonzon really is to you, and what your relationship is. You know, it's a clear mirror. Okay? Yeah. All of that. All right, here we go. So the requirements for embracing the Gohonzon. So what did he just say before I even start talking? There are requirements of you from a standpoint of action, one of them being faith, right? That are necessary for you to actually embrace the Gohonzon. When he says embracing the Gohonzon on page 136, embracing the Gohonzon is in itself observing one's own mind. That's not talking about casually chanting in front of the Gohonzon.
No.
All right? That embracing the Gohonzon is the embracing of the Gohonzon of the pursuit of Buddhahood. All right? Now he's going to qualify what are these requirements when you say you're embracing the Gohonzon. Okay. All right? Page 141. Sorry, dear. All right. Saito, based on the letter to Gijobo, you have taught us the meaning of ungrudging faith, which is the foundation for embracing the Gohonzon. In his writings, the Daishonin also identifies a number of other conditions with regard to embracing the Gohonzon. So this embracing the Gohonzon is some sort of specific act, all right? It's not just sitting down in front of the Gohonzon and starting to chant. Okay, that's not embracing the Gohonzon. Having a seeking spirit when you do that, all right, is that, all right? President Ikeda, top of page 142. Embracing the Gohonzon means believing in and upholding the Lotus Sutra. The Lotus Sutra is the teaching that causes all living beings to enter the Buddha way. The lives of all people are fundamentally endowed with the world of Buddhahood, a state of unshakable happiness. The Lotus Sutra teaches that we can all manifest this state of life. The Lotus Sutra urges us to believe in the enlightenment of all people and our own enlightenment. In the heritage of the ultimate law of life, the Daishonin discusses the way to embrace the Lotus Sutra, which teaches the enlightenment for all people, from 3 or 4 perspectives. Morinaka. First, the Daishonin says, Shakyamuni Buddha, who attained enlightenment countless kalpas ago, the Lotus Sutra that leads all people to Buddhahood, and we ordinary human beings are in no way different or separate from one another. To chant Myoho Renge-kyo with this realization is to inherit the ultimate law of life and death. This is a matter of utmost importance for Nichiren's disciples and lay believers, and this is what it means to embrace the Lotus Sutra. All right, so that's what it means to embrace the Lotus Sutra. Okay, he says then, and what is that then? What did that just say that I just read out loud?
Embrace.
Huh?
Embrace.
Yeah, embrace. But what's involved in embracing? What is
Faith?
Faith, absolutely. Because but why? What's it telling you in that paragraph that I just read?
Belief.
Yeah, belief and faith are essentially the same thing in this. But what I'm saying is that what he just said here is that you and Shakyamuni are exactly the same. All right? So if you don't really believe that, if you don't perceive the Gohonzon that way, if you don't perceive your life and practice that way, then you are not following one of the requirements, okay, for embracing the Gohonzon. So when you sit and chant to the Gohonzon, you think you're embracing the Gohonzon, and you're not embracing the Gohonzon. Because you're not viewing the Gohonzon from the perspective that it's been taught by Nichiren that it exists. Okay, do you follow what I'm saying? So it's important that we know. Shakyamuni, this is that famous one from the heritage of the ultimate law of life. Shakyamuni Buddha, who attained enlightenment, okay, the Lotus Sutra, and we ordinary people are in no way different or separate from one another. Period. All the way to the end. That's not a generalized statement with some small exceptions. That's an absolute. All right? So he says, where was I? Okay. Here, he is saying that we should realize that on the most fundamental level, there is no difference between the eternal Buddha, the Lotus Sutra, which is the teaching of universal enlightenment, and each of us. So we're all manifestations of the same thing. Nam-myoho Renge-kyo, right?
Yeah.
All right, so Ikeda, at the bottom of page 142. He is explaining what it means to accept and uphold the Lotus Sutra. Now, what does that's another way of saying what? To have faith and live by the sutra. Okay, so he's explaining what it means to have faith in and live by the teaching of the sutra. The eternal Buddha, again, and that's what when we talk about the eternal Buddha, to my friend, it's the Buddha of beginningless time is the eternal Buddha. All right, and our school, Buddhism of the Sun, views that perspective, views the perspective of Nichiren being that individual. So Ikeda, on the bottom of page 142, he is explaining what it means to accept and uphold the Lotus Sutra. The eternal Buddha, the teaching of the Lotus Sutra, and each of us are all manifestations and expressions of the mystic law, of Nam-myoho Renge-kyo. All equally reveal the true aspect of all phenomena. All. Having confidence in this truth, which is what we're talking about when we say faith, right? Having confidence in this truth is what it means to embrace the Lotus Sutra. So it says there are requirements for embracing the Gohonzon, which is the same as the requirements for embracing the Lotus Sutra in the latter day. You with me? Right? Okay. So this is what it means to embrace the Lotus Sutra. All people can become Buddhas. So what does that mean? They are, in fact, already Buddhists. They just haven't realized it yet, because Buddhism isn't something that's acquired. It's an innate state of life. All right? All people can become Buddhas. They can secure eternal happiness without fail. This conviction, this point of faith, Okay? Unwavering faith, doubt-free faith, opens the way. So that conviction is necessary to embrace the Gohonzon in the fashion that we're talking about as it relates to attaining Buddhahood in one's present form. Okay, you're with me? This isn't casual. All people can become Buddhas. They can secure eternal happiness without fail. This conviction opens the way forward through any circumstance. It could be said that faith in the mystic law is the light of hope that illuminates the bleakest darkness. It is the lifeline of courage to challenge any hardship. That is a description of Buddhahood, that courage to overcome anything, that insight to understand how to do it. Okay? All right. So, Morinaka. Next, the Daishonin teaches the attitude of faith that now is the last moment of one's life. Does everybody understand that? Why is that important? What is that? What is the predication of that? Now is the last moment of one's life. This is one of those that Mr. Matsuoka beat into my head. Why is that important? If it's the last moment of life, what's the most important thing that you could have in that last moment of life? Pure faith, pure faith, pure faith. All right? So he teaches the attitude of faith that now is the last moment of one's life, is that we constantly are living with that sense that our life could end tomorrow. What regrets will we have from our laziness and the lack of effort that we've made? Okay? What have we done to fulfill our mission so that we could die at any time and it doesn't matter? Okay? Be satisfied and actually achieve a state of happiness from the thought. And we're not suicidal. We're completing our journey in this lifetime, only to go on to another one in another lifetime that's going to be even better. That's the cool part. All right? So it is the lifeline of courage to challenge any hardship. Pardon me, here I am. Thank you, dear. President Ikeda, this is the same as faith in which one does not begrudge one's life. That was the point. All right? Now is the last moment of my life. I will give it to the Gohonzon. I'll give it to the law. I'll give it to Kosen Rufu. In addition to believing in the teaching, embracing the Gohonzon, he's here again, still qualifying. What are the qualifications of embracing the Gohonzon? When we say embrace the Gohonzon, we're not just talking about sitting down and chanting. We're talking about chanting with a specific spirit in our heart. Right? This is the same as faith in which one does not begrudge one's life. In addition to believing in the teaching, embracing the Gohonzon here means maintaining that faith throughout one's life. Okay? Since our ultimate objective in life is to attain Buddhahood, it naturally follows that we must maintain lifelong faith. That means we can never go Titan and actually have done what we said we were doing all along, or have been in the state that we might have assumed we were in all along. Because these people don't ever go Titan. All right? The Daishonin teaches the importance of persevering in faith. Now, what does that word persevering refer to? Why would he use the word persevering instead of continuing?
Never give up.
Never give up, because perseverance means that you're meeting opposition. Okay, persevering means you're fighting through something, right? You're continuing no matter what. Okay, so it's not just continuing, actually, it's fighting through whatever needs to be fought through. The Daishonin teaches the importance of persevering in faith, saying, Buddhahood lies in continuing faith. In other words, if you want to attain Buddhahood, you cannot stop. The key is to maintain faith. The key to maintaining faith is the solemn attitude that now is the last moment of one's life. This means having such faith that even if your life were to end now, you would have no regrets. And that's the important thing. If you're walking around with shit that's a regret, you're missing something. You've left a hole in the wall, okay, that you've got to go back and fix. This means having such faith that even if your life were to end now, you would have no regrets. You can only resolve that reality in front of the Gohonzon through Daimoku. That won't be like a bucket list kind of regrets kind of a point he's making there. Oh shit, I never got to go to the Kentucky Derby. No, it was not like that, all right? Regrets would be that you didn't accomplish with your life what you set out to accomplish with your life. When we have such completely pure, dedicated faith that we have no regrets in life, because we know we gave it our best shot. Did I have to be perfect to have no regrets? No. Did I have to cross every single freaking T and dot every single freaking I in order to qualify to be able to have no regrets? No. We gave it our best with doubt-free faith to the last moment. That's what we did, okay? We gave it our best. He says, when we have such completely pure, dedicated faith that we have no regrets in life, which is the point in time that I'm talking about, we become one with the mystic law. And we're cool with whatever goes down because we are actually Buddhists in our present form, and we are fulfilling our mission for Kosen Rufu as we promised we would. He says, we become one with the mystic law. By maintaining such faith, we can attain Buddhahood in this lifetime. In the heritage of the ultimate law of life, the Daishonin also stresses the importance of faith that is consistent and unbroken over the three existences of past, present, and future. Morinaka. In that regard, he says, my followers are now able to accept and uphold the Lotus Sutra because of the strong ties they formed with it in their past existences. As I referred to before, that's all a continuum. What you're meeting in this lifetime didn't start in this lifetime. They are certain to obtain the fruit of Buddhahood in the future. Okay, so because of the strong ties they formed in their past existences, they are certain to obtain the fruit of Buddhahood in the future. The heritage of the Lotus Sutra flows within the lives of those who never forsake it in any lifetime whatsoever, whether in the past, the present, or the future. Saito, by accepting and upholding the Lotus Sutra in the present lifetime, we will enjoy the benefit of the mystic law transcending life and death over the three existences for all eternity. Ikeda, if we truly embrace the mystic law, we will never lose its benefits over the three existences. So that's kind of like forever and ever, right? Right. Okay, so the seed for attaining Buddhahood, which is the mystic law, once sown in the field of our hearts, can never be lost or destroyed. That's hearing the name and the words of the truth, right? Right. All right, so Morinaka, page 144. The seeds of the Oga lotus survived and sprouted and produced flowers even after the passage of thousands of years. Likewise, the seeds of the lotus of the mystic law, Myoho Renge, will not be destroyed even if one should fall into a state of hellish suffering. Ikeda. That is known as the virtue of never losing the seed of Buddhahood. After the seeds of the mystic law have been planted in someone's life, they are sure to sprout, flower, and bear fruit when nourished by the rain of compassion and the sunshine of wisdom. No matter what difficulties we encounter, it is important that we continue to believe in the mystic law and steadfastly chant Nam-myoho Renge-kyo through both suffering and joy. We must never cut ourselves off from the mystic law. Those who disbelieve or slander it destroy the seeds for their own enlightenment. Okay, what did that just say then? We're still on this thing of qualifying the requirements. What is this requirement now? That no matter what difficulties we encounter, we don't slow down, we don't give up, we don't take a vacation. We don't say, I'll start practicing again when I start getting some benefits. That's not the attitude, right? We double down. And how do we double down in our hearts? Let me tell you my secret. When you run into this and you run into that wall and you're not getting those benefits, then the reason that you want those benefits should always become in order to prove the validity and the power of the Gohonzon. They're not about whatever they had to do with your personal life anymore. They're really something that are there for you to share with the rest of humankind by being the individual that manifested that expression of faith in the power of the Gohonzon. Okay? So that's what he's talking about when he's saying no matter what difficulties we encounter. So that means we've got to be steadfast no matter what. That's really the key. It is important that we continue to chant, to believe in the mystic law. Okay, so that's faith, and to steadfastly chant Nam Myoho Renge Kyo. That means we're still in front of the Gohonzon, giving it our all, even though we haven't quite gotten that Gohonzon benefit we're looking for. All right, through both suffering and joy. So we don't let joy suddenly diffuse us out of this so that we're not thinking about it anymore. Right? Because that can happen just as easily as suffering can make you think about what you want to overcome, right? Mm-hmm. So he says, we must never cut ourselves off from the mystic law, either through such good times or through such bad times, because you can fall either direction. Mm-hmm. Those who disbelieve or slander it destroy the seeds for their own enlightenment. In the Morinaka, in the heritage of the ultimate law of life, the Daishonin further indicates that the unity of many in body, one in mind, is a condition for embracing faith. He says, all disciples and lay supporters of Nichiren should chant Nam Myoho Renge Kyo with the spirit of many in body but one in mind, transcending all differences among themselves to become as inseparable as fish in the water in which they swim. This spiritual bond is the basis for the universal transmission of the ultimate law of life and death. Herein lies the true goal of Nichiren's propagation. When you are so united, even the great desire for widespread propagation can be fulfilled. Pardon me. Saito, page 145. Unity of many in body but one in mind means unity in which all summon the spirit of the Buddha who yearns for the happiness of all people and dedicate themselves to their respective missions. I got 4 stars there. What did that just say? Saito, unity of many in body but one in mind, okay, which is Itai Doshin. The unity of Itai Doshin means unity in which all summon the spirit of the Buddha who yearns for the happiness of all people and dedicate themselves to their respective missions. What's that saying? The Buddha that is our original states becomes the predominant life force and the predominant source of direction for our faith and our practice, okay? Unity of many in body but one in mind means unity in which we all summon the spirit of the Buddha. So this is a very spiritual, this is thinking about Kosen Rufu. This is, again, taking our 9-world life that really doesn't have all this greatness involved in it other than surviving and progressing, all right, and bringing forth that 10th world that now makes it the Buddha. Your life is very significant. You're touching and changing a lot of other people's karmic experience. You're the reason why some people have manifested in your presence. It's very serious. So he says, unity of many in body but one in mind means unity in which all summon the spirit. So we're all trying to bring forth that original state spirit of cause for the sake of Kosen Rufu, as though we're as much of a Buddha as anybody. We can do Kosen Rufu. We're going to do Kosen Rufu. It's not like, let me help do Kosen Rufu. I want to be a small part of Kosen Rufu. I'd like to contribute to Kosen Rufu. No, it's like, I don't give a shit about anybody else. I'm going to do Kosen Rufu. That's the same mind as Nichiren. Okay? That's what he's talking about. That's the spirit. To summon the spirit of the Buddha who yearns for the happiness of all people. That's what that just was. Okay? And dedicate themselves to their respective missions, because we all have our own manner in which we're going to express that single truth. All right? President Ikeda, page 145. There is no more fulfilling existence than one in which we live, and one in which we, each with a precious and indispensable mission, lead active lives, surmount various difficulties, and forge our way to a new hope-filled future. Kosen Rufu is a magnificent enterprise that proceeds eternally, step by step, through the grand human revolution of each person. So what does that say, though? It says that what I just described here in the previous paragraph, where I was going unity and it's, summon the spirit of the Buddha, that manifests in an infinite variety of ways. Okay? Each one of us individually manifests the aspect of that corresponds to our life. Let me read that. President Kate. There is no more fulfilling existence than one in which we, each with a precious and indispensable mission, lead active lives. Could we all lead the same active life? No. No, I'm a different person than you. You can't get in my underwear. I can't get in yours. Okay, so this is lead active lives that vary throughout the environment. Surmount various difficulties that show actual proof at various levels with different people.
Right.
And forge our way to a new hope-filled future. Start to instill this hope for mankind into mankind by being the living daily example of this in society. We're not there yet, but we will be.
Yeah.
Do you understand what I'm saying? All right, so Kosen Rufu is a magnificent enterprise that proceeds eternally, step by step, through the grand human revolution of each person. That was a really powerful paragraph.
Yeah.
Did everybody grab its depth?
Yeah.
Do you need me to read it again? I'll read it again. I'll go into the next section because this is a summation.
Okay.
President Ikeda, there's no more fulfilling existence than one in which we, and what he's now going to describe is the life of a bodhisattva of the earth. So we might as well be saying, there is no more fulfilling existence than one in which we live as Buddhas in our present form, as the original disciples of the original teacher. He could just as easily say it that way, okay? Mm-hmm. Each with a precious and indispensable mission. What does indispensable mean? Means it can't be replaced. Leads active lives. Lives that aren't sitting around talking. They're doing, they're activating, they're creating change. Surmounting various difficulties, expressing the proof and the power of the law, and forging our way to a new hope-filled future. Kosen Rufu being actually actualized. Kosen Rufu is a magnificent enterprise. It means it's a big construction project.
Right.
It's not something just over here we're working on taping a wall and we're going to do drywall or something, right? It's the whole deal. Kosen Rufu is a magnificent enterprise that proceeds eternally, step by step, through the grand human revolution of each person. On page 45, achieving observation of the mind, Morinaka. Next, I would like to ask about the 5 characters of Myoho Rengekyo, the body of the law that we embrace. First of all, is Myoho Rengekyo the daimoku we chant, or the object, or is it the object of devotion? Ikeda, in how those initially aspiring to the way can attain Buddhahood through the Lotus Sutra, the Daishonin says that we revere Myoho Rengekyo inherent in our own life as the object of devotion. With this awareness, we chant Daimoku. The object of devotion is Myoho Rengekyo, and the Daimoku that we chant with faith in the object of devotion is Myoho Rengekyo. So did you understand what that just said, the importance of that? Which is it?
You yourself is Myoho Rengekyo.
There's no separation.
No
That's
separation.
the point that he's trying to make. The point is that there's no separation in the two perspectives. Okay? All right, so let me say it again. Next, I would like to ask about the 5 characters of Myoho Rengekyo, the body of the law that we embrace. The body, quote unquote, he's saying. First of all, Myoho Rengekyo, the daimoku that we chant, is the daimoku? Is Myoho Rengekyo the daimoku that we chant, or is it the object of devotion? President Ikeda says, based on that Gosho, when we revere Myoho Rengekyo inherent in our own life as the object of devotion, With this awareness, we chant Daimoku. So we view the Gohonzon as being the Gohonzon in our life, not the one that's sitting in the altar. That's what he's trying. That's the important point here. That we don't limit ourselves to thinking that the one in the altar is the Gohonzon, is the source of the power that we receive and we see reflected from our practice. It is not. It's the Gohonzon within ourselves that's causing that, right? With this awareness, we chant Daimoku, is what he's telling you to do. The object of devotion is Myoho Rengekyo, and the Daimoku that we chant with faith in the object of devotion is Myoho Rengekyo. Myoho Rengekyo is the common name for both the Buddha nature that is equally inherent in the lives of all living beings and for the mystic law to which all Buddhas in the three existences are awakened. Accordingly, he says that by chanting the Daimoku even once, we are calling forth the law to which all Buddhas are enlightened, as well as the Buddha nature of all living beings. Its benefit is therefore infinite and boundless. Saito, the Daishonin says, when we revere Myoho Rengekyo inherent in our own life as the object of devotion, the Buddha nature within us is summoned forth and manifested by our chanting of Nam-myoho Rengekyo. This is what is meant by Buddha. So if we're calling for the Gohonzon's power to come out without it having anything to do with us, it's some sort of talisman outside of ourselves, we will not be able to manifest this life state of Nam-myoho Rengekyo in our lives. When we revere Myoho Rengekyo inherent, so only when we perceive the Gohonzon in our own life to be the gig, the Buddha, that's when the Buddha nature is able to come up. Because now we're praying a prayer or perceiving a truth that is correct, versus one that the Gohonzon is this mystic thing hanging there to save our ass whenever we really need it to. Okay? And he says, okay, this is what is meant by Buddha. When you do it right, when you do it correctly, when you perceive that it's you and not something outside of you, you're Buddha. That is Buddha. To eliminate, now he goes into the caged bird thing. When a caged bird sings, birds who are flying in the sky are thereby summoned and gather around. And with the birds flying in the sky gather around, the bird in the cage strives to get out. When with our mouths we chant the mystic law, our Buddha nature being summoned will invariably emerge. The Buddha nature of Brahma and Chakra being called will protect us, and the Buddha nature of the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas being summoned will rejoice. This is what the Buddha meant when he said, if one can uphold it, the mystic law, even for a short time, I will surely rejoice, and so will all the other Buddhas. Top of page 147. President Ikeda, to chant Nam-myoho Rengekyo is to praise to chant Nam-myoho Rengekyo is to praise most highly the Gohonzon that Nichiren Daishonin manifested. At the same time, manifested, not created, okay? It's his life. At the same time, it is to praise the Gohonzon in our own lives, because there's no separation between those two Gohonzon, okay? And to praise the world of Buddhahood within us, which is also the same thing. When the life of the world of Buddhahood is praised in this fashion, what's he qualified there? When the life of the world of Buddhahood is praised in this fashion. So, for what I'm going to read now, what is that? What do you have to do for that to be the case? You have to praise most highly the Gohonzon that Nichiren Daishonin manifested. At the same time, praise the Gohonzon in your own life. And thirdly, praise the world of Buddhahood that exists within us in all things. Okay? He says, that is, okay, the Daishonin says, it becomes manifest. When the life of the world of Buddhahood is praised in this fashion, it becomes manifest. You become Buddha. You're in this state of Buddhahood. The Daishonin says that it is summoned forth and manifested. It is we who are calling forth our Buddhahood, and it is our Buddhahood that is being called. The world of Buddhahood is not something given to us from outside. We call it forth from within. It's our Buddhahood. It doesn't exist outside of our life. It is a case of responsive communion. From within. It is a case of responsive communion between the Gohonzon and ourselves. All Buddhist gods throughout the universe move in response to our voices and functions to protect our lives. All Buddhas and Bodhisattvas rejoice. This is as the Daishonin indicates when he says joy refers to the joy experienced by the entire realm of phenomena simultaneously. The entire universe overflows with joy. Saito, it is truly the manifestation of the world of Buddhahood. President Ikeda, the fundamental law of the universe is Myoho Renge-kyo, and the true aspect of our own lives is Myoho Renge-kyo. The life of the Buddha is the manifested aspect of Myoho Renge-kyo in the body and the spirit of a human being, and the ultimate law for attaining Buddhahood expounded by the Buddha is also Myoho Renge-kyo. For this reason, when we chant Nam Myoho Renge-kyo while practicing, for this reason, when we chant Nam Myoho Renge-kyo while practicing for ourselves and others, with the Gohonzon of Nam Myoho Renge-kyo manifested by the Buddha as our clear mirror, and with deep confidence in the Gohonzon existing in our own lives, Myoho Renge-kyo within us resonates with the Myoho Renge-kyo outside us, and the world of Buddhahood emerges within us. Did everybody catch that?
Yeah.
That's a pretty complicated recipe, but there's your full recipe on the bottom of page 147. And I'll be done as soon as I get to here. Morinaka. So that part on page 148. So that is what it means to achieve observation of the mind. President Ikeda, yes, in the object of devotion for observing the mind, after elucidating the doctrine of embracing the Gohonzon is itself observing one's own mind, the Daishonin, citing sutra passages, describes the aspects of achieving observation of the mind. Saito, he explains it as the emergence of the worlds of the two vehicles in one's own life, of Shakyamuni, of the three Buddhas, of the world of Bodhisattvas. In other words, it means seeing all of the 10 worlds in one's own life, including the 4 noble worlds, which are hard to manifest. Morinaka, the belief and understanding, 4th chapter of the Lotus Sutra explains that the 4 great voice hearers, after hearing the theoretical teaching, rejoice in being able to embrace the mystic law, saying, this cluster of unsurpassed jewels has come to us unsought. Citing this passage, the Daishonin says, they represent the world of voice hearer that is within ourselves. President Ikeda, at the bottom of page 148. These words also express the joy that people of the latter day feel they are able to, these words also express the joy that people of the latter day feel when they are able to manifest the world of Buddhahood, just as they are by embracing the Gohonzon. That is why the Daishonin says that the 4 great voice hearers represent the world of the voice hearer within the lives of those who embrace the Gohonzon. Saito. Next, the Daishonin cites the expedient means, 2nd chapter on the top of page 149, in which Shakyamuni describes his vow from past lifetimes as follows. At the start, I took a vow hoping to make all persons equal to me without any distinction between us, and what I long ago hoped for has now been fulfilled. I have converted all living beings and caused them to enter the Buddha way. President Ikeda, this is Shakyamuni's vow expressing his yearning for all people to attain the same state of life as he possessed. By embracing Myoho Renge-kyo and receiving all the benefits of the Buddha's practices and virtues, a person attains a life that is in no way different from that of the Buddha. Morinaka. Therefore, the Daishonin says, Shakyamuni Buddha, who has attained perfect enlightenment, is our own flesh and blood. His practices and the resulting virtues are our own bones and marrow. President Ikeda, this indicates that the people who are the Buddha's disciples come to freely enjoy and employ the benefits of practice and virtues with which their lives are endowed, just as does the Buddha who is their mentor. Saito, the Buddha who, at the bottom of page 149, the Buddha who freely enjoys the benefit of the law is the Buddha of limitless joy. Therefore, in his commentary on this writing, Nichiren Shonin says that this passage indicates the oneness of the mentor and disciple in terms of the Buddha of limitless joy. Next, citing the passage in the Treasure Tower, 11th chapter, that states that a person who embraces the Lotus Sutra thereby offers alms to Shakyamuni, many treasures, and all the Buddhas of the 10 directions. The Daishonin says, Shakyamuni, many treasures, and the Buddhas of the 10 directions represent the world of Buddhahood within ourselves. By searching them out, we can receive the benefits of all these Buddhas. Ikeda, at the top of page 150. The three Buddhas express the eternally inherent three bodies in our own lives. Shakyamuni, the symbol of wisdom, is the reward body. Many treasures, the symbol of the truth, is the Dharma body. And the Buddhas who have gathered from the 10 directions, who symbolize compassion, are the manifested body. As mentioned earlier, those who embrace Myoho Renge-kyo are endowed just as they are with the benefits of the eternally inherited three bodies. Saito, just as a child who has inherited all the assets of the parent possesses the same wealth as the parent, a disciple who has inherited all the benefits of the Buddha of the eternally inherent three bodies is the same as that Buddha. Therefore, Nichiren Shonin in his commentary designates this passage as expressing the oneness of parent and child from the standpoint of the eternally inherent three bodies. Morinaka. Further, the Daishonin refers to another passage in the lifespan chapter. It has been innumerable, boundless, hundreds, thousands, 10,000s, millions of nayutas of kalpas since I in fact attained Buddhahood. This explains that Shakyamuni in fact attained enlightenment in the remote past. Citing this passage, the Daishonin says, in the object of devotion for observing the mind, the Shakyamuni Buddha, within our lives is the eternal Buddha since time without beginning, who obtained the three bodies more than numberless major world system dust particle kalpas ago. President Ikeda, he means that the eternal Buddha, who is one with the eternal law of Myoho Renge-kyo, manifests in our lives. That's why we become Nam Myoho Renge-kyo, thus come once. Do you understand? Because that's describing the Nam Myoho Renge-kyo, thus come one. All right? With the he means that the eternal Buddha, who is one with the eternal law of Myoho Renge-kyo, manifests in our lives. This, in other words, is the Buddha of beginningless time, or the life of Nichiren, my brother Bot. Okay, that's who the Buddha of beginningless time is. All right, Morinaka. But it only becomes manifest when we are capable of being that manifestation ourselves. Okay, he doesn't hang out there as a separate spirit walking around. All right. This is the fulfillment of our mission as an original disciple. We're supposed to be bringing forth this nugget of power and faith into the Sahe world to display it. Page 151, Morinaka. The Daishonin also cites the following passage in the lifespan chapter. Originally, I practiced the Bodhisattva way, and the lifespan I acquired then has yet to come to an end, but will last twice the number of years that have already passed. About this, he says, he, Shakyamuni, was speaking of the world of the Bodhisattva within ourselves, just like we were just talking about the Buddha within ourselves, right? President Ikeda, the sutra indicates that Shakyamuni, who in fact attained Buddhahood, numberless major world system, dust particle kalpas in the remote past, continued carrying out Bodhisattva practices even after attaining Buddhahood. The innumerable Bodhisattvas of the earth, who appear in the emerging from the earth chapter of the Lotus Sutra, are disciples of Shakyamuni who attained enlightenment in the remote past, but they also represent the world of Bodhisattvas in Shakyamuni's life. In the same way, these Bodhisattva followers also reveal themselves in the eternal Buddha that is manifest in the lives of those who embrace Myoho Renge-kyo. This represents the world of Bodhisattvas in one's own life. Saito, when the eternal Buddha, or the Buddha of beginningless time, manifests in our lives, the life of the world of the Bodhisattvas who are the followers of the Buddha also appears. Nichiren Shonin described this relationship as the unity of ruler and minister, i.e. the ruler indicating the Buddha and the minister the Bodhisattvas. President Ikeda, a Buddha who, after attaining enlightenment, leaves for a pure land in another world, or takes refuge in the tranquility of nirvana, is not a true Buddha. Okay? So what did that just say? Shakyamuni is represented in the Lotus Sutra is not a true Buddha. Okay? All those other Buddhas as depicted in the sutras are not true Buddhas. Okay? Where am I?
Nikita.
Okay, a Buddha leaves. Okay, a Buddha who, after attaining enlightenment, leaves for a pure land in another world or takes refuge in the tranquility of nirvana is not a true Buddha. And why does he put that in there? Because that's what all of them do. Okay, all those other Buddhas that are revealed in those sutras all split to go to their. Okay, because we talked about the 10 worlds all the time, right?
Yes.
But what's the basis of the 10 worlds? It's actually, if you look in the Lotus Sutra and you look you try and do a search and you do 10 worlds in the Lotus Sutra, you'll find 10 worlds mentioned all kinds of times, but it's actually worlds of the 10 directions is what the lookup is actually referring to. Okay, so the point is that the 10 worlds don't exist as an expression until Tentai pulls that from the worlds of the 10 directions. Because what are those worlds of the 10 directions? They're all a bunch of worlds where the appropriate people go back to those worlds. The worlds of a Bodhisattva world is inhabited by Bodhisattvas. A Buddha world is inhabited by Buddhas. An Asura world is inhabited by demons. Do you understand? Right? Okay, let me go on. Top of page 152, and we're almost finished. A genuine Buddha goes out, is not a true Buddha. Continuing that sentence from 151. A Buddha who, after attaining enlightenment, leaves for a pure land or in another world or takes refuge in the tranquility of nirvana, being blown out, is not a true Buddha. If upon becoming a Buddha one's life of the 9 worlds ceases to exist, then one has not attained true enlightenment, nor is one truly a Buddha. A genuine Buddha goes out into society, which is swirling with the life states of the 9 worlds, and there becomes active, manifesting the life of the world of bodhisattvas. A Buddha directly engages people one by one as they deal with the sufferings of existence in the real world. Thoroughly treasuring every person, takes unswerving action to guide each to happiness. It is precisely in this dauntless path of the bodhisattva that the life of the Buddha shines. For everyone's happiness, a Buddha racks his mind, exerts himself, and employs a wide range of expedient means. He immobilizes all the 10 worlds. To be able to manifest a state of life needed at any time in any of the 9 worlds is totally free from the state of the life of the Buddha. To be able to manifest the state of life needed at any time in any of the 9 worlds is the totally free state of life of the Buddha. Okay, so the Buddha is the 10th world, right?
Yes.
Uses the 9 worlds in any manner they wish in order to provide the expedient means to express a furtherance of faith and practice for others, right? Morinaka, in concluding his explanation of the object of devotion for observing the mind and the aspect of achieving observation of the mind, the Daishonin cites the words of the great teacher Myoho of China. You should understand that one's life and its environment at a single moment of life encompass the 3,000 realms. Therefore, when one attains the Buddha way, one puts oneself in accord with this fundamental principle, and one's body and mind at a single moment pervade the entire realm of phenomena. President Ikeda, this passage expresses a completely free state of life in which, by embracing the 5 characters of Myoho Rengekyo, we achieve observation of the mind, in which the Myoho Rengekyo within our lives becomes one with the Myoho Rengekyo of the universe, and we freely manifest boundless life force. Saito. Thank you very much. Next time, as the final part of our discussion in this series on the Gohonzon, I would like to inquire about the establishment of the object of devotion based on the second half of the object of devotion for observing the mind. That's from page 153. We'll start again on page 157, chapter 5, volume 2. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.